Imagine a small country, Lithuania, standing tall against a massive geopolitical force, making a bold move that it believed would send ripples through the global stage. Lithuania's decision to formally recognize Taiwan, a first for any European country, was hailed as an act of courage, a beacon for the values of democracy, sovereignty, and freedom. It was meant to inspire, to show the world that small nations could make a powerful stand against the tide of authoritarianism. For a brief moment, Lithuania's gamble seemed to pay off. There was international applause. Lithuania's voice echoed in the halls of democracy across the world, and for a moment, it felt as though Lithuania had won a moral victory. But beneath those cheers, something darker was brewing. A storm that would hit Lithuania's economy with a fury no one could have predicted. The cost of Lithuania's stand was swift, devastating, and unrelenting. The country now finds itself at a crossroads, forced to make an impossible choice: rebuild its relationship with China, its economic lifeline, or risk further isolation, the economic toll too great to bear. The questions are stark and urgent. How did it all go so wrong? And can Lithuania find a way out of this crisis? Or will it be forced to sacrifice its democratic ideals to survive? Lithuania's decision to recognize Taiwan was driven by a desire to stand for the values that all democracies should uphold, values that transcended economic calculations. Lithuania's foreign minister, Gabrielius Landsbergis, described the decision as an opportunity to position Lithuania as a European leader in the fight against authoritarianism. They hoped to spark a domino effect, expecting other European nations to follow their lead in defying China, to send a united message that Europe would not bow to Beijing's demands. Lithuania's vision was that, through this principled stance, it could inspire a wave of change, one that would isolate China and bring European democracies closer together. But Lithuania's leaders miscalculated. The reality was far harsher. China, furious at Lithuania's challenge to its sovereignty, responded with lightning speed. In a matter of weeks, Beijing imposed sweeping sanctions, freezing Lithuanian imports, severing major trade deals, and all but erasing Lithuania from the map of China's global economic network. The consequences were swift and overwhelming. China's foreign minister, Wang Yi, delivered a sharp warning. Any country that underestimates China's stance on sovereignty will bear the consequences. Lithuania was about to learn just how severe those consequences could be. Trade between Lithuania and China, which had previously amounted to over $300 million annually, vanished in a matter of months. The result was nothing short of an economic collapse. Sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and high-tech, all cornerstones of Lithuania's economy, were hit hard. Small businesses that had relied on Chinese demand suddenly found themselves facing ruin. Lithuania's economy, a small one by European standards, couldn't withstand such a blow. It was like a financial earthquake, sending shockwaves through every corner of the country. Among the hardest hit sectors was laser technology, where Lithuania had once been a leader in supplying advanced equipment to China. That market was now gone. The economic repercussions were dire, with companies slashing jobs, some closing their doors permanently, unable to recover from the devastating loss. Farmers, once thriving off exports of meat and grain to China, saw their livelihoods evaporate as trade ceased overnight. Local suppliers who had nurtured years-long relationships with China's markets now found themselves abandoned. Small business owners, whose companies had been built on the foundation of Chinese trade, were left scrambling to find new markets, facing an uncertain future. The numbers were staggering. Lithuania's exports to China plummeted by over 90% in a matter of months, and the broader economy began to buckle under the strain. This wasn't just a political decision anymore, it was a national crisis. For Lithuania's people, the economic toll was personal. It wasn't just numbers on a page, it was the loss of jobs, the destruction of entire industries, and the collapse of livelihoods. One Lithuanian factory owner put it simply: without the Chinese market, we're struggling just to keep the lights on. As Lithuania's economy teetered on the brink, the nation itself was divided. Public opinion began to fracture. A recent poll revealed that 55% of Lithuanians now felt that the government should prioritize economic stability over its moral stance on Taiwan. They were willing to compromise on ideals for the sake of securing their nation's future. On the other hand, 45% of Lithuanians stood by their government's decision, believing that Lithuania's democratic values were more important than any economic calculation. But the dilemma was not simply ideological, it was practical. For many Lithuanians, the question wasn't about abstract political principles anymore. It was about survival. A protester in Vilnius, Lithuania's capital, summed it up in stark terms. We can't ignore human rights, but we also can't ignore the economy. This wasn't just a theoretical debate about sovereignty. It was about the future of jobs, of families, and of a nation's place in the world. With this growing internal pressure mounting, Lithuania began signaling a shift. Foreign Minister Landsbergis recently indicated that Lithuania was open to easing tensions with China, but not at the cost of abandoning its values. "We remain committed to our values," he said, "but we are also committed to securing our nation's future." This shift in tone reflects a stark realization that while principles matter, economic survival might require a more pragmatic approach. It was a difficult pivot, a recognition that Lithuania could not afford to ignore the economic realities of a world dominated by superpowers. Lithuania's geopolitical situation has made this dilemma even more complex. Bordered by Russia to the east, Lithuania is deeply integrated into NATO and the EU, and its strategic location in Eastern Europe places it at the heart of ongoing geopolitical tensions. Lithuania's alignment with the West has kept it safe from Russian aggression. But as China and Russia have deepened their own ties, Lithuania finds itself trapped between two giants. The growing Sino-Russian alliance presents Lithuania with a unique challenge. Defying China too harshly could alienate a crucial economic partner, while risking tension with Russia could leave Lithuania even more vulnerable in a volatile region. This geopolitical balancing act has forced Lithuania to rethink its approach to international diplomacy, not out of fear, but out of necessity. Lithuania must find a way to maintain its Western alliances while finding a way to manage its relations with China. The stakes have never been higher, and the road ahead is fraught with difficult decisions. With its economy in freefall, Lithuania is looking to China for a possible diplomatic reset. But the timing of this outreach is critical. As China's own economy slows due to trade conflicts with the United States and the lingering effects of the pandemic, Beijing is also feeling the strain of a volatile global market. This has prompted China to reconsider its relationships with nations it once punished, hoping to stabilize its trade relations. For Lithuania, this could be a rare opportunity. After enduring months of economic isolation, the Lithuanian government now appears open to discussions, recognizing that a thaw in relations could ease the pressure on its domestic industries and restore some stability to the economy. But what would this reconciliation mean for Lithuania's ideals? Some experts believe that China might view Lithuania's overture as an opportunity to assert its power, requiring Lithuania to make further concessions or offer symbolic gestures of support for China's territorial claims. Others believe that China, facing its own economic challenges, might be willing to re-engage with Lithuania as a way to rebuild economic ties in Europe. Regardless of China's response, Lithuania's willingness to engage diplomatically is a sign of its desperation. It's a recognition that survival, in today's world, sometimes requires compromise. Lithuania's experience offers powerful lessons, not just for small nations, but for the broader global community. Its struggle highlights the risks that come with standing up to powerful economic partners, without the guarantee of support from other nations. For Lithuania, the fallout was severe, an economy left in tatters, industries crippled, and thousands of people affected. But Lithuania's experience also underscores the importance of careful diplomatic strategy, particularly for countries without the weight of superpowers behind them. Nations like Australia, New Zealand, and even smaller Southeast Asian countries are watching closely as Lithuania navigates this difficult situation. They are learning from Lithuania's missteps, understanding the immense risks of taking unilateral action without the backing of a coordinated international effort. The price of moral leadership can be steep when a nation is left to face the consequences alone. As Lithuania grapples with its future, the implications for Europe are profound. If Lithuania successfully rekindles its relationship with China, it could set a precedent for how other smaller European nations balance their values with economic necessity. In an era of intensifying geopolitical rivalry, Lithuania's next steps could reshape the landscape of European diplomacy, offering a blueprint for countries seeking to navigate the difficult path between economic survival and moral integrity. The ultimate question, however, remains: will Lithuania's journey lead to a pragmatic compromise or a retreat from its core values? Lithuania's story is far from over, and as the nation continues to walk a tightrope between moral principles and economic survival, the world will watch closely. The outcome of this struggle could be a pivotal moment in global diplomacy, one that may set the tone for how nations, large and small, engage with superpowers in the years to come. This is Lithuania's battle, a battle that could define not just its future, but the future of European diplomacy in an increasingly polarized world.